Many English learners find it hard to connect with the language. They memorize vocabulary, they study grammar, they watch lessons, but something still feels missing. That something is experience, real life use, emotion. And one of the best ways to bring English to life is through stories. Because stories carry emotion, rhythm, context, and human interaction, all the things that language really is. When you learn through stories, you don't just study English, you live it. You feel it. You begin to understand not just the words, but the feeling behind them. You hear the pauses, the tone, the way people really speak. And that's how fluency grows. If you want to improve your English in a natural and powerful way, make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to Lingverse. We share new stories every day to help you learn language like it's lived, not just studied. It was just past 6 a.m. when Daniel stepped out of the small apartment he had rented in Amsterdam. The streets were nearly empty. The air was cool, crisp, and full of the quiet hum of a city not yet awake. He had always loved early mornings, especially when traveling. There was something peaceful about being up before the noise, before the traffic, before the world started moving. He unlocked the old bike he'd rented the night before. It was black, simple, a bit rusty, but it rode well enough. The streets were still a little damp from the night's rain, and the city smelled like water, brick, and the first signs of spring. Daniel hadn't planned anything. He didn't check a map. He didn't have a destination. He just wanted to ride along the canals, across the narrow bridges, past the houseboats and rows of tilted buildings. The first few minutes were quiet. His tires rolled gently over the cobblestone streets. The soft ringing of his bike bell echoed off the walls of old buildings. He passed a bakery where someone inside was already kneading dough. The smell of fresh bread mixed with the morning air, and he smiled without meaning to. As he pedaled further into the city, he passed over bridges where mist still hung low over the canal water. The surface of the water was so still it looked like glass. He stopped on one bridge and just looked, watched the reflections of the old Dutch buildings, the empty boats tied to the docks, the way the early sunlight touched everything in gold. He saw a man walking his dog. They nodded at each other. No words, just a shared moment of quiet. Further ahead, he turned onto a narrow lane, trees lining both sides. The bike path was smooth, and he picked up speed. The wind rushed against his face. His jacket flapped behind him. He felt light, free, like he had slipped out of time. He crossed another canal and turned again, following wherever the road led him. He passed a woman setting up a flower stall. Tulips, daffodils, bright colors against the gray stone. She was humming something. Dutch, maybe. Or just a melody without words. Daniel smiled again. He stopped near a bench by the water, took out a small notebook from his backpack, and jotted something down. Just a few words. Something about light, about silence, about the feeling of riding through a city that hadn't quite woken up yet. When he looked up, the city had started to move. More bikes were on the roads. A tram bell echoed from somewhere. People with coffee cups hurried by. But for a moment, he still felt like he was moving at a different rhythm, a slower one. He got back on the bike and made his way home. Not rushed, not slow, just steady. That morning, Daniel didn't practice vocabulary. He didn't study grammar, but he lived in the language. He heard it in the signs, felt it in the city, and thought in it as he wrote. And that kind of learning, the kind that comes through real, quiet moments, stays with you. In today's story, you learned useful, natural expressions like, just past 6 a.m, crisp air, unlocked the bike, a bit rusty, didn't have a destination, the city smelled like, rolled over the cobblestone, ride along the canals, soft ringing, smile without meaning to, looked like glass, flapped behind him, slipped out of time, set up a flower stall, melody without words, jotted something down, hadn't quite woken up yet, and moving at a different rhythm. These are the kinds of phrases native speakers use every day, not in textbooks, but in life. And hearing them in stories helps you understand not just the meaning, but the feeling and use. If this story helped you feel more connected to English, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Lingverse. We post new stories every day, stories that bring English to life, one moment at a time. See you in the next video.